up, everyone? I hope you are having a great day today. For those of you that haven't been here before, my name is Allison Avery, and for those of you that have, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to finally be doing the long-awaited part 2 of my addiction / recovery. If you haven't watched it already, make sure to go watch part 1 so that this kind of makes sense and it ties in all together. I wanted to make 2 videos though because telling the 15 years of my addiction plus the 2 of my sobriety was going to be too long of a video. Here's my part 2. I hope you guys enjoy it. The last one I ended with getting out of rehab. Absolutely loved rehab. I thought that it was amazing. It literally saved my life. I learned a lot of tools to use throughout my life that I had never been taught before. To do yoga, to do meditation, anger management. That's when I really picked up on working out a lot. And all of us had a journal. So I journaled every single day for the whole month that I was in there. This day have 50 journals. I try to journal every single day. That's something that really helps with trying to make decisions, just getting out emotions, writing down goals. It's a very good tool that I really love and use to this day, as a lot of the other ones too. Once I got out of treatment, I wasn't really sure if it was the right idea to immediately go back to the job that I was in because they tell you to change people, places, and things. I was really dead set on changing my environment. So I was like kind of unsure if that was going to be a good thing for me or not, but it was at that time pretty much the only way that I really knew how to make money and the kind of money that I was used to making. And I thought it would be good if I was like, yeah, I'm sober. I'm going to go to work and just work all the time, save up my money, and go to the gym. I stayed sober for about 4 months and I was on the pink cloud, as they call it. So fresh out of recovery, you're super gung-ho, you're like, yes, I'm gonna be sober forever, I'm gonna be that person that's, never gonna relapse. And I can still say that there was still doubt in my mind, so that's probably why I did relapse. I didn't think it was gonna be so soon, but I had an idea. I was like, I really don't know if I'm gonna be sober the rest of my life. 4 months in, I met a guy at the coffee stand that I was working at. Immediately fell in love with him. Within the first few times of hanging out, I convinced him to let me drink. They do tell you in treatment that you should not get into a relationship at least I think a year, preferably 2, after you're in recovery. But 4 months, I'm like, I'm good. I got my good habits. I'll be fine. I was nervous and I didn't know how to really communicate my feelings, express myself in the correct ways because I had always used alcohol to do that for me. I was really nervous. I wanted to be cool and be fun. That wasn't the right thing to do, but he was like, yeah, that's fine. He knew that I was sober, but he didn't know to the extent of how severe, I guess, my addiction really was. It was not his decision to let me drink or not. It was my decision, and I failed at that. I didn't know how to even have sex with people sober. I was like, oh, what if I really like this guy? Like, I was so terrified to do things sober. I could work sober, and that was fine, but that was all I was doing, was working and going to the gym. That was my life. I was in a bubble. So once I got into the real world with hanging out with people and doing things that I was normally doing, then I immediately reverted back to drinking because it was safe for me, and I had that to kind of coax me through the nerves of meeting a new person that I really liked. We started dating. Obviously, drinking was not good for me. He ended up moving very suddenly. I was devastated. So when he moved, we still were technically together, but it was really hard having this person that I love that I got to see all the time and then have him just move across the country. It got even worse into the wintertime when my grandma was sick and she went to the hospital. So she was severely ill. Emotionally, I couldn't take it, and then I started drinking a lot. Because I was drinking a lot, we were fighting a lot more. Ended up losing a friendship over it because I got so drunk and had a falling out. So I lost my friend, lost my boyfriend, and my grandma all in the same time, and I couldn't handle it. But I was still working, still trying to work out, still trying to balance all of this. And by the spring of next year, I had decided to move to San Diego, California. I thought that if I got out of my space, I was around different people, places, and things, then I could get sober. I went down there. I did stay sober for the most part for the first month or so, but I started smoking weed every day. I didn't think there was a problem with it because I was like, I can remember, I'm not doing anything crazy, I'm just justifying it. It was to obviously get away from myself. I wasn't living sober. After almost a year of living there, I ended up going back to Washington. I was just like, I'm going back to California. I'm going to save up my money, go back to LA. So that's what I did. Still drinking this whole time. I didn't stop. I tried to, but it never stuck. Would go maybe a week at I think the longest I ever went besides the 4 months was like 10 days. It was so hard. Then that's when I decided that I wanted to do porn. I was like, I'm moving to LA. I'm doing porn. I promised myself that I had to stay sober, and that if I couldn't stay sober while I was doing the line of work that I was doing, then I wasn't allowed to do it. I thought that if I was down in LA, I'm by myself, a young girl, and in the industry that I'm in, I was like, it would be really unsafe. Like, you don't know what you're going to do, the positions that you're going to put yourself in. It was hard. I didn't drink as much as I would have liked to, but I genuinely knew my problem, and I knew how scary of a situation that I could put myself in by getting that drunk. Whenever I was at work, I wasn't drinking, but there were times that I would get done shooting and then I would go drink. Also, very difficult for me to find friends and meet people that didn't drink. Maybe I wasn't trying hard enough, but I would go to a lot of group model shoots. I would go to any of the porn parties. Obviously had a ton of drinking. I was trying to meet friends, but I was also trying not to drink. So it was this weird in between, because it was like the industry that I was in was so heavily involved in alcohol and drugs. I was just trying to stay away from that. So I kind of just distanced myself, stayed at home a lot, or just worked a lot. I was just in a really sad place. I was really lonely, and I knew that if I lived in LA that I was not going to be able to quit drinking and doing drugs. I was kind of in this weird position of I didn't want to leave, but I also didn't think that it was the best thing for me to stay. So I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. Then that's when my boyfriend now came into the picture. We had been friends for years. He flew out to LA to hang out with some people, and I ended up seeing him. I flew to New York to hang out with him, and we ended up taking acid for my first time. That was kind of my first real dive into psychedelics. So I never really thought about doing psychedelics, but I was open to the idea. After I did it, it was amazing. It was one of the best experiences of my life. And don't get me wrong, I have done acid again, and I have had some wonky experiences. After we became a thing, I was still drinking at the time. Both of us were kind of drinking together. We were getting into fights. I was doing my Allison thing, just drinking a lot, freaking out. That was kind of my warning to chill out, but I couldn't stop. I ended up breaking things off with him. Once that happened, then obviously I was in a very emotional state, was continuing to drink and drinking a good amount by myself. After about a month of us not being together, I ended up drinking at dinner one night. I was going to drive over to a friend's house. I stopped at the gas station and got more alcohol. As soon as I left the gas station, I ran a red light and I got T-boned. I got into a car accident, got a DUI. It was devastating, to say the least. I'm grateful that I'm okay and that the other person is okay. The reality of the situation really hit me. The fact that I could have seriously injured someone else or myself even just really hit me. And the fact that I'm obsessed with my car, and I promised that if I had that car I would never drink and drive in it. After that happened, it really hit me of all of the things in my life that I love and cherish were going to, one by one, start to slowly drop off if I did not give up alcohol, because I've seen it before in my life. It's happened time and time again. This is my cycle. They tell you all of the things that you cherish the most are going to be the first things to go. My relationship was gone. My car that I absolutely loved was gone. I could have put my job in jeopardy because how am I supposed to even get to work? It was really eye-opening for me. I did end up drinking a very few times after this incident. The night that I finally quit drinking, I woke up in a hotel room. There was fast food and garbage everywhere. I was alone, naked in my hotel room. There was condoms on the floor. Nobody else was in the room. So I'm grateful that I got back to my hotel room in this random city, but I don't even remember what happened that night, how I got back. And that has happened so many times in my life, and I just broke down and I was like, this has got to stop. This morning, oh, and I had an awful hangover. The amount of times that I have gone through times like that, I was like, I'm so tired of this. I'm so done with this. Like, when are you going to finally be done? You can't do this anymore. You can't live like this. And something clicked in me. I just decided, I don't know why that time over any other, because any other time that I just decided never stuck. I just decided that I was not going to do that anymore. Went back home to Washington. I was kind of freaking out a little bit because I was like, what do I do? I went out into the woods and I was just meditating basically, and it came to me that I needed to travel. I was like, I want to go somewhere. I decided that I was going to go to Hawaii. And so I booked a trip. I went there for 2 weeks. I detoxed there. It's kind of considered a spiritual place, and I just wanted to be somewhere where I was alone. I was living in Bellevue at the time, and so I was in the part of the city 9 stories up. I just felt really disconnected to earth, and I just wanted to be back in nature. I ended up getting this Airbnb out in the middle of nowhere, totally out. It was beautiful, but I can say it was also terrifying at the same time. I quit drinking, doing drugs, escorting, doing porn. I quit everything all at once. I don't recommend that. I paid for it. It was really scary. There was a ton of paranoia. There was a lot of anxiety, stress, emotions, everything all at once that I didn't really know what to do with. I didn't have a lot of people in my life to go to, and just trying to figure out who I am and what I'm doing. It was rough for quite a while. I got in contact with Jordan when I was in Hawaii. I apologized for everything. I told him that I had been sober for a couple weeks now, that I had planned to stay that way, changing my life, and that I was hoping that he might understand and help me through it, because he was a very close person to me and I did love him very much. And that is something that I lost when I decided to continue drinking. Thankfully, he was hesitant, but he did slowly let me back into his life, which I'm extremely grateful for. I've not drank on February 11th. It will be 2 years, and it absolutely blows my mind. I've always wondered if I would ever get to this point, and now that I'm here, 2 years sounds like nothing and feels like nothing. But when I was in rehab and I heard people had 2 years, I was like, oh my God, that is so long. Like, it seems like a lifetime. 1 year seems like a lifetime when you're in it. Now that I'm out, it just feels so easy now. I don't want to say it was always easy, because I do feel like I had a lot of it's post-acute withdrawal syndrome for a very long time. Just recently, I actually quit drinking coffee because coffee was feeding into my anxiety. So I was trying to stay away from that to see if that helps a little bit. I was drinking a lot of that as soon as I got sober. It's like, coffee is the only thing I have left, and that did not help. It made it worse. I heard noises in my head. Thought people were following. It was really bad, and I was really scared. And it sounds crazy, but at the time it was like the most terrifying. But to have overcome that and to be able to be here and look back on it now is so crazy to me. And if anyone is at that point or is hoping to be able to finally cross that barrier, I will be the first to tell you that it is so worth it. It is so worth it. It's a little bit difficult for me sometimes to think about how things were, because it's longer and longer since you've been that way and been that person and been in those situations. But you really have to remember all of the things that you felt and remember all of the things that happened to you, because they do say that the people that have the most sobriety are the most susceptible to relapsing, because they forget how bad it really was. And so I don't think about drinking really, but if I do consider it, then all I have to think about is how bad it really was, and all of the things that I love and cherish in my life, because those will be the first to go. Yeah, it's totally not worth it. I'm over here, I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm not going to lose all of the things that I have for that. So it goes out of my mind fairly quickly. It's not something that I really struggle with anymore. There has been times when it was an absolute obsession in my mind. I thought that I would always feel that way, and it feels terrible feeling like that. Grateful that I don't have that obsession like constantly going through my mind all day. I can say that that does go away, I promise. I've been asked before, how do I stay sober? How do you continue on the path that you're on? And some of the things for me that really help me are some of the tools that I learned when I was in treatment. I like to meditate. Don't do it every single day. I try to, but I'm not perfect. I try to meditate at least 10 minutes a day. You don't have to do it at the same exact time every day. If you can fit it in before you go to the gym, or you can fit it in after breakfast or something, do it. You don't have to be like, oh, well, I missed it at 9 o'clock, so I don't have to do it today. It does make you calm your thoughts, become more mindful, become more intentional with your day. Really like meditating. My favorite is going to the gym. I love going to the gym. Like, I feel happy when I'm at the gym. I'm getting healthier. I'm getting stronger. I just love that feeling. I absolutely love the gym, and I'm very glad that I found that passion because it makes everything better. Also, something that I just started doing recently, a couple months ago, started talking to a therapist. I absolutely love her. I have talked to people in the past. They just didn't really jive with me. I love getting to talk to her and tell my feelings. And even when I started talking to her, I actually didn't really have anything too crazy going on in my life. I knew that having that in place so that when something did happen, then I would already have that relationship with her, and she would already kind of know my life and my story, so she'd be better at helping me to handle that. I talk to her once a week, and it's just nice to have somebody to kind of get things out to, and it helps you organize your thoughts. You can talk about whatever, about whoever in your life. I really enjoy it, and I'm grateful that I have her to talk to. That definitely helps. And she actually is the one that recommended to me that I start going to meetings, and I do recommend them. I can honestly say that I haven't gone to meetings until probably a few weeks ago. I do like them. There's never a meeting that I go to and I regret. I'm always really happy after I leave. I always take things with me. I always hope that if I speak, that somebody else takes something from what I said. Just as nice to have that community of people that understand what you're going through, have been through it. You don't always in your day-to-day life have people that you can talk to about certain things, but the people in there, they know how you're feeling on personal level, just like I do. Even my boyfriend, he doesn't necessarily feel the same way that I do about drugs and alcohol. It's not hard for him to just leave it alone, but for me it was an obsession, and it controlled my life. You know, to have other people that you can talk to that's like, yes, I've been there. It's really nice to have that. All in all, there's no going back for me. I just have made my decision. I'm not gonna say that it's because of psychedelics, but it's pretty ironic to me that after I started doing them, only months later was I able to just make the decision to quit drinking, which I had tried to do probably hundreds of times before for years. I can't say that it is the reason, but I can't say that it didn't help. Once I started doing them, it just made me start to look at my life and the things that I wanted differently. Like, it made me more intentional with how I was treating myself and how I was treating others. They feel a lot differently than alcohol did. Alcohol is a depressant. Alcohol made me sad. Alcohol made me numb to things. It made me hurtful to others and to myself and just not care. That's not a person that I wanted to be. And psychedelics did exactly the opposite. They made me feel just overwhelming love. There are times that were pretty scary to me, but at that time I understood that it wasn't that the drug was bad. I don't even like to call it a drug. Medicine is bad, but that was showing me my own mind. If you are going through something and you're sad, you don't want to do psychedelics. Like, that's not a good time to do them unless you're ready to deal with that and get to the bottom of them. If you are intentional and you do them in a safe space with someone that you are comfortable with, I recommend them, but I don't recommend them to everyone. I detoxed for quite a while, and so my body was all over the place, but that didn't stop me. I was like, no, I know I have problems. I know I have traumas. I know I have stuff. I want to dig to the root of this. And it's painful. Like, it's not easy. It's very uncomfortable and disturbing sometimes. I was ready to pick all the dirt out of my wound and let it heal properly, because putting a mask of alcohol and drugs and broken relationships and broken friendships and broken everything. It was just trashing my body, trashing all of my longings. It was awful to me. It's strange to me that we live in a society where alcohol is so normalized and it makes people do such awful things and makes your inhibitions lower, you're depressed, all of these things, but psychedelics are bad. It just doesn't make sense to me. Not here to just like promote psychedelics, but the things that I have gotten from drinking alcohol is just not what I want for my life anymore. I'm so grateful that I can sit here and say that I am almost 2 years sober. It's wild to me, but it feels like such a short amount of time in the long scheme of things. For any of you that are still struggling or know people that are struggling, it gets better. Like, I promise you, if you are so close, you're almost crossing that threshold and you're ready to get sober, but you just don't know, I promise you, it might get worse before it gets better, but if you're ready to push through that, life isn't perfect. It doesn't make everything automatically go away in your life. Life still happens. It definitely makes you have the right tools to move through life and be like, yeah, this is inconvenient, but on to the next thing. I got this. I have the tools to do this. It doesn't make everything feel so devastating and like your life is over because of it. And ever since I stopped drinking, I have better relationships with people. I'm more confident in myself. I'm not so scared to do certain things. I'm drinking. I have this voice in my head that beats me up all the time and like tells me I'm not good enough. And once you stop drinking, your mind gets clearer. You are poisoning alcohol is poison, like straight up. Once I started caring about my body and loving myself, I was like, I don't want that for myself. I don't like it. I don't like the way it makes me feel. Your body literally is telling you, I don't want this thing. Like, people throw up on alcohol. Like, you have the worst hangovers ever. For me to keep doing that to myself over and over as many years as I did, it's really sad. I'm so grateful to be on the other journey now. Being on this journey, I have met so many people that have crazy time. Like, they have like 15 years, 20 years, and I'm just like, that is amazing. Good for you. And the longer that I am sober and the more people that I talk to, it makes me feel even more comfortable in telling my story. It makes me feel like, yes, I'm so sure that I'm making the right decision. There's not enough of us talking about it and not enough people that are trying to break the stigma of people getting sober. Everything else is going to be obviously promoting that because it's like, money, money, money. Here, buy more alcohol, buy more alcohol. The amount of destruction that I have seen it cause in myself and others, and to this day, people that I love dearly, it's just really hard to watch. I'm going to advocate for sobriety. Like, I feel so much better. I feel so good in my body, and I just love feeling good. And so even thinking about alcohol, I'm just like, no, like, I can't. I just want to tell you that if you're still struggling, I feel you. I get it. I know what it's like. I know that it's hard. Fucking sucks, but no matter how many times you have to fall down, like, get up. Like, promise you, get up. I don't even remember how many. It's hundreds of times that I tried to quit drinking and I couldn't, and finally here I am. I'm so glad that I never gave up on myself. I can't do that anymore. I need to be strong for me and I need to be strong for the people that I love. There's just nothing good that comes out of it. There's a saying that says, not every time you're drinking something bad happens, but every time something bad happens, you're drinking. And that was so true for me. There would be those couple times that are like, oh yeah, it was a great night. Nothing bad happened, but then there was nights all hell broke loose. I'm sorry, I feel like I've been talking forever. I hope that you guys like this video. I'm going to be celebrating my 2 years on February 11th, so congrats to me. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for you guys. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that it took so long for me to get this video out. I'm glad that I'm finally releasing it. I have 3 months worth of videos that I'm going to be putting out. I'm going to do much better in 2023 posting videos. I hit my 1 year YouTube anniversary. I feel like I should be farther along than I am, but that's my own fault. So this year is about consistency and holding myself accountable. You guys can hold me accountable too. Please do. I need that sometimes. I'm super glad that I finally released this to you guys. Told you the rest of my story. Do never hesitate to ask me questions or tell me your story. Tell me how long you've been sober. Tell me if you want to get sober, or if you know somebody or you have questions or comments or concerns about anything. I'm here. I love you guys so much, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Please like this video, comment, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.